It's time for a very VZed Christmas, brought to you by Fortune Tellers Union Local 347, Johnson's Ukulele Repair and Mortuary, and McSweeney's Mushroom Paste. Brushing your teeth has never been this mushroom flavored until now. And now your host, some loser in a Santa hat.
Hi everybody. Welcome to the I Like to Video Games very VZed Christmas special. Christmas is my favorite time of year. Like, it seriously is my favorite time of year. And anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is a damn liar and they know it. Each fall, I have to resist asking people what they want for Christmas in September just to avoid the incredulous looks I know I will receive. But yeah, I love the spirit of the season. I love exchanging gifts, I love getting together with friends and family, I love decorating, I love baking, in as much as I'm not burning the house down. I even love going Christmas shopping. Yeah, it's stressful and the lines are unbearable, but hey, you're all the ones looking incredulously at me for wanting to get started in September, so you can all just go climb a mountain and wish for a heart transplant, you Grinches.
So yeah, I love Christmas, and therefore I wanted to do something Christmas related here on I Like to Video Games. But there's so little out there in the gaming world that relates directly to Christmas. And yet, gaming has always been such a memorable part of many of my Christmases. I never really got tons of video games for Christmas growing up because I was the only one in my family who ever played them, and my parents assumed I was going to grow out of them eventually. Yeah, right. So today, sirs and madams, I'm going to go over the top 5 games that have made Christmas morning memorable. Number 5. Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Christmas 2003. Here's a little something about me you might not know. I love the Resident Evil series. Let me clarify. I don't consider 4, 5, and 6 to be part of the Resident Evil series. In my mind, Resident Evil was made up of a collection of games telling a branching but wonderfully absurd story that utilized a largely unique sense of control and play to create its own style of gameplay and gamer mindset. In other words, these. 4, 5, and 6 are totally different animals, even apart from each other, with 4 being the apotheosis of the forum-loving send-off to a story and playstyle that had earned a comfortable retirement, 5 was the post-heyday overreach slipped and broke its neck in the bathtub news report, and 6 was its shambling, groaning corpse hungry to consume us for all we're worth, the very kind of abomination the first 4 games taught us to avoid, or, put a bullet into. I've never really understood why it is that the early games in the RE series get as much scorn as they do. Sure, they're campy and weird, but, well, those are the reasons why I love them so much. But I guess it's not for everyone. These days, they enjoy a healthy cult classic status, akin to the kind of respect their film genre parallel is getting today, but I think the campiest and weirdest of the bunch has to be Code Veronica, the 4th game in the series. Yeah, I know, numbering, who needs it, right? Which I received for Christmas 2003. I remember being particularly unsettled by the beginning of Code Veronica. The other games in the series start you off in city streets or in a mansion, and even if they're not locations you personally know, they're at least environments that you're familiar with. You ever been in a city before? Done. You ever been in a house before? Bam. You ever been on a train? No? Well, it's a train. It's not that hard. Code Veronica, however, starts you off in a prison camp. Totally alone, totally locked down, and totally unequipped. Hell, the only reason you're able to escape your cell is that the guard stops caring and decides it's more humane to let you try your luck amongst the monsters than waste away in a cell. At this point in the series, veteran players know what to expect, and yet there are still some pretty terrifying moments. As the proverbial youngest sibling in the family at the time, Code Veronica has learned from the experiences of its older kin and learned plenty of ways to keep us off guard, utilizing jump scares and build-ups like an old pro. Even the villain in the game, Alfred Ashford, takes advantage of the hammy voice acting style of the series, making it really hard not to totally buy his utter insanity.
I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Code Veronica may not be the scariest game in the series, but it knows where it needs to be at all the right times, and certainly didn't waste any time solidifying itself as one of my favorite games from my past. It made for a scarier Christmas morning than I was used to, but was all the more memorable for it. Number 4. Donkey Kong 64, Christmas 1999. When I was a kid, way back before I had any real awareness of video games as an industry or a wider culture, I remember watching half-hearted endorsements from kids' television personalities that Donkey Kong 64 was the hot new game on the market that Christmas season.
I really wasn't sold on it, and I had no idea that Rare was a company that did exceptional work beyond a few titles I liked from previous years. When I think about it, it's pretty clear to me where the tendency for people to hate on sequels before they see them comes from. I did the exact same thing here.
It's not going to be as good as the Donkey Kong Country games, I thought to myself, as though I had any authority to do so, because, you know, Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time were just flukes.
Even without any real attachment to the game, I put it on my list for the year as a throwaway, totally indifferent to whether or not it appeared under the tree that year. Even though I didn't try to sell my parents on it, they went for it anyways, and boy am I glad they did. Christmas '99 in no time at all was all about the bananas, the coins, the blueprints. What's that? K-Rool's at it again? Bring it on, big guy, I've got another week till school starts. Y2K coming up? Who cares? There's Kongs to save and fairies to catch! The game is magical, start to finish. It's got everything. Racing, climbing, flying, collecting, huge levels to explore, terrifying bosses to defeat. It was everything I could have hoped for, even if I hadn't been at the time. Donkey Kong 64 is a testament to the powerhouse that was Nintendo 64 era rareware, and that Christmas morning all those years ago forever solidified it into my mind. Number 3, Metroid Prime, Christmas 2002. The story of how I came to ask for Metroid Prime for Christmas is certainly a strange one. I came by nothing about this game naturally. A friend of mine told me about it, yet I had never played a Metroid game before, so I didn't really care. He sent me trailers, gameplay footage and such, but to be honest, it didn't entice me. What is this, Super Monkey Ball Adventures in Claustrophobia? It looks kind of boring. But I guess it stuck in my head. Perhaps there was something in the old noggin that wanted a new experience, so why not? I threw it on the old Christmas list because, hey, other people seem to think it's going to be good, and if there's one thing I learned from Donkey Kong 64, it's that I shouldn't prejudge games. So anyways, that Christmas, it appeared under the tree, wrapped in former trees, and addressed to me. I popped it in the old GameCube, and suddenly, it all clicked. This game wasn't boring, it was slow burn. What I thought looked like drab environments were actually incredibly varied and offered way more to do than I was expecting. And Super Monkey Ball Buried Alive Edition was actually Metroid Prime, as in it's its own animal, and super cool. This game was a deep, deep rabbit hole that didn't just steal away a few hours of my time, it consumed me. After a few days of playing it, I approached my friend who told me about it in the first place, and I couldn't wait to tell him that it was super fun and totally huge and exciting and that I was totally glad I went with his advice, and he was all like, seriously, you went for that one? Because that game looks totally boring pants and like, I don't like it and I'm not gonna play it. And I was all like, what? But I didn't care for very long because I just played more Metroid Prime and it was awesome. I am a huge fan of this game, and now that I'm more familiar with the rest of the Metroid series, I don't really know why this game gets as much scorn as it does. It's a great world for exploration, which opens up more and more as the game goes on. The scope of it is just staggering, and replaying this game feels just like the first time, again and again. Perfect for the number 3 spot. Number 2, Super Mario World and the Super NES Christmas 1995. What can I possibly say about Super Mario World that hasn't already been said? It's amazing, simple, fun, and endearing. It's remarkable how so simple a premise can create such a long-lasting and frankly inspiring piece of work. Run, jump, collect things, and don't touch the bad guys. Them's the rules, now go have fun. Sometimes you can shoot things, so, okay, if you get a flower, run, jump, collect stuff, shoot stuff, and don't touch the bad guys. There we go. What could be simpler? A cape? And it helps you fly? Okay, run, jump, collect, shoot, bad touch, and fly. Simple. Except that flying takes a while to get the hang of, and okay, how about Super Mario World? Simple in its complexity. Yeah, there we go. That's some Zen shit to start your day with dinosaurs. Ah, damn it, there's dinosaurs? But seriously, Super Mario World is my favorite Mario game. Yes, you heard me, my favorite. Aside from that, this was the first console game I ever owned. Not to mention my first ever console, the two of which came packaged into one glorious Christmas gift. It was certainly a memorable Christmas morning. Okay, maybe not that memorable, but it really was the starting point for my life in gaming. Many other great Super NES games would follow. It was the gift that kept on giving, but Mario World was the first, and in many ways the best. That Christmas was certainly a great one, and to me a very important one, but crazy as it may seem, this is only number 2 on the list because, well, there's one more gift game that came a few years later that sticks out in my memory just a little bit more. Number 1.
Kingdom Hearts Christmas 2003.
Now I know what you're all thinking. Kingdom Hearts makes the list above your first ever console? Well, way back when I was opening up my Super NES, I was pretty young. All I cared about was getting a video game for Christmas. Didn't matter which, I would have played the hell out of anything. Kingdom Hearts, however, arrived at a pretty important time in my life.
Remember in my intro when I mentioned that my parents figured I was going to grow out of video games? Well, it almost happened. When I was in high school, gaming was one of the last things on my mind. It was always there and I was still playing them, but fewer and fewer of my friends were into video games at that point, and the games that I did play tended to be more on the "look at me, I'm a hardcore mature gamer" side of things. I mean, look at the other game I got for Christmas that year. Yeah, I was a sullen, moody teenager. Might as well have worn an emo fringe and written bad, depressing poetry all day, which I will demonstrate for you now.
I don't really have the hair for it anymore, so today I'm gonna be Christmas emo.
All of life is darkness, and in darkness is pain. And the world is pain, and the darkness of life hides this pain to which I previously spoke of. And through the darkness, light can only bring more pain. Until the end. Which is more darkness. Needless to say, I had long since outgrown Disney movies, and the fact that these characters were showing up in a video game basically just meant bad news. Licensed games never turned out well. It didn't take a genius to see that. And now they're cramming a bunch of Disney characters in with some Final Fantasy characters? Sorry. Anybody else hearing this and thinking it's stupid? When it came out and people actually liked it, I was surprised. I saw one of my friends playing it and, well, it was different than I expected. It made me curious. It didn't really look all that stupid, and after sliding it into the old PS2 all those years ago, everything changed. I don't want to say too much because I plan on doing a more in-depth video on this game in the future, but suffice it to say, I was not expecting this kind of product from a Disney Square Enix crossover. The opening hour of the game remains today as one of the most powerful things I've ever played. The empty yet tantalizing nightmare world, the vague, creepy conversations with your friends, the first battle with Darkseid, only to contrast all of that darkness with kids having fun on the beach in an island paradise. This game reawakened my sense of childlike wonder and awe in ways that I didn't even think possible at that point. Suddenly, it was okay to like happy games again. Gaming didn't just have to be about darkness anymore. In a very real way, Kingdom Hearts may have been the thing that taught me how to love gaming, not just as a pastime, but as an art form. I was so affected by its opening all those years ago, not to mention the rest of the game that followed, that I still return to it every few years, and I gotta say, stopping myself after getting the footage I needed for this video was not easy. So those are some of the best gaming memories I've had on Christmas mornings. Nothing beats cuddling up on the couch with a controller in your hand on the snowy Christmas morning in your pajamas and slippers sipping hot cocoa in front of a roaring fire.
But for my guest spot, we go to where it's hot and sweaty all year round. Texas! Take it away, Eruption.
Oh hey, it's Eruption. My choice is Bomberman 64.
Bomberman 64. When I was a wee 7-year-old, I had a Nintendo 64 and was the happiest kid on the planet. I had a backlog of SNES and Genesis games laying around, and each new Nintendo 64 game blew my fucking mind. You could say I was content. All was well. I was set for a long time because I was a spoiled little shit. But one fateful evening,
Bomberman, Bomberman, mass destruction across the land. Makes the bomb any size, and he's yours to customize. Oh yeah, your very own Bomberman.
holy shit! I had to have it. I had never heard of Bomberman up until this point, but I just had to have it. Not only did we get a clever Spider-Man song cover, but before my young, impressionable eyes were explosions, explosions, and more explosions. But no, I had just gotten a copy of Super Mario RPG, and that game was too expensive for my parents' liking. So, I did what any other kid would do. I wrote a letter to Santa. Dearest Santa, I want Bomberman 64. Okay, thanks. Surely enough, Christmas Day arrives and it's sitting there unwrapped in front of the Christmas tree. I was so excited that I grabbed my copy, skipped opening the other presents from everyone else in my family, and it was Bomberman time. Has the game held up? Mostly. The gameplay is smooth enough. and everything feels just right. But the game can sport some frame rate issues and a couple levels, but it's pretty normal for a Nintendo 64 game. Visually, Bomberman 64 doesn't stand out too much. It's the gameplay where it shines really, and bombs feel super tight to control, kick, and throw around, and I wasn't struggling much with relearning the game. I remembered how to beat certain levels, but others took a much longer time because of some of the backtracking puzzle elements. The level design and boss fights are what really shine through here though. Plenty of fun to play, and each one is quite a bit different from each other. The levels shine individually, and give you a satisfying sense of accomplishment when you overcome the bullshit camera! Man, you gotta love these early 3D games. The camera's just all over the place. Fuck. Because of that, this game can get pretty freaking tough. But that's mostly because of the camera. I mean, most levels in the game can be beaten without a problem, but in some levels, like the lava world here, you're gonna have a really hard time because you're falling off platforms because your camera's spazzing all over the place. However, despite all my complaining, there's one aspect of Bomberman 64 that has held its own and continues to do so, and that's the music. Pure class, baby. Pure class. Here's the weird thing though. I don't like the game so much as I did when I was a kid. At 7 years old, I completely beat the game, unlocked every multiplayer outfit. I was completely enamored with Bomberman. It literally couldn't get any better than this. It was hands down the most memorable Christmas present that I've ever received. Yeah, as a 7-year-old, I'd probably toss this game aside after a month or so, as kids do. But it's the memories here that count, isn't it? Merry Christmas. Back to you.
That's great. Hope you don't die of heat stroke. Is he okay? Should we, Okay, yeah, so this video was part of a series of Christmas videos forming a sort of advent calendar, if you will. I've linked to a playlist of all of the videos in the description below, so feel free to go check them out. As for me, I'm just gonna have fun playing games this Christmas. Or rather, gonna have fun playing Kingdom Hearts this Christmas because I started it again to get the footage I needed, and once I start, I can't really stop. It's kind of a problem. So yeah, you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and I will see you in 2014. Possibly sooner, haven't really decided yet. Tell you what, I'll see you when I see you.